Hi everybody, Puffin here. It's such a beautiful day and the weed is so good in Colorado, and the Puffin's Pothead Passages number 3 that I just did turned out so good that I just figured I'd go ahead and do another one, number 4, this morning. So thanks for tuning in again, or tuning in the first time. Welcome, nice to meet you, I'm Puffin. And brought my little Bible that I'm going to turn to the early part of it. This is the New Testament, so I'm going to turn to the Gospels because I'm more familiar with them, and pick something at random and respond to it. So, well, actually it turned a little further than I thought. And he said, "How can I accept some man should guide me?" And he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him. The place of the scripture which he read was this: "He was led as a sheep to the slaughter, and like a lamb dumb before his shearer, so he opened not his mouth. In his humiliation his judgment was taken away, and who shall declare his generation? For his life is taken from the earth." And the eunuch answered Philip and said, "I pray thee, of whom speaketh the prophet this, of himself or of some other man?" Then Philip opened his mouth and began at the same scripture and to preach unto him Jesus. And as they went on their way, they came into a certain water, and the eunuch said, "See, here is water. What doth hinder me to be baptized?" And Philip said, "If thou believest with all thine heart, thou mayest." And he answered and said, "I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God." And he commanded the chariot to stand still, and they went down both to the water, both Philip and the eunuch, and he baptized him. And when they were come out of the water, the Spirit of the Lord caught away Philip, that the eunuch saw him no more. And he went on his way rejoicing. I don't think I've ever read this story before. But Philip was found at Azotus, and passing through he preached in all the cities till he came to Caesarea. So that's interesting. I didn't really know what I was going to say about it. But when it got to the part about the Spirit of the Lord caught away Philip, like he just kind of disappeared. That's kind of interesting. Extra interesting that maybe people don't talk about these types of things too much, or people that talk about them figure that everybody already knows about them. But I think that's interesting. I want to turn back just because when I don't see the red on the page of Jesus saying something, I don't get quite as excited. So I just flip back to Mark 12:4. This is the middle of a parable where, I'll just go back to the beginning of 12. "And he began to speak unto them parables. A certain man planted a vineyard, and he set a hedge about it. And he digged a place for the wine fat, and built a tower, and let it out to the husbandman, and went into a far country. And the season he sent to the husbandman a servant, that he might receive the husbandman the fruit of the vineyard. And they caught him, and beat him, and sent him away empty." I never understood what this was about, I don't think, but I'll try it now, because this guy's let people take care of his, or appointed people, hired people to take care of his stuff, and then they beat his servants when he's trying to receive the produce of his properties. But as a parable, it's going to be like God has sent, or in my view, the goddess is sending messengers to people, and we end up beating them away instead of receiving them, and instead of kind of paying that attention to the spiritual world. And again he sent unto them another servant, and at them they cast stones, and wounded him in the head, and sent him away shamefully handed. I can't hear anybody talking about casting stones and getting hit in the head without thinking about the way the cops are treating the protesters at the Black Lives Matter protests. And again he sent another, and him they killed, and many others, beating some and killing some. And again, just reminds me of the prophets, the way he talks about prophets being sent to Jerusalem, and how we pretend to glorify Jerusalem or treat it like it's this holy city, which I guess it is, but it's not as holy as it should be because it keeps killing the prophets. And there was that passage I read earlier where Jesus says, you keep killing the prophets, and I keep seeing what we could do, but you keep stopping it from happening. Mark 12:6, having yet therefore one son, his well-beloved, he sent him also last unto them, saying, they will reverence my son. But the husbandmen said among themselves, and people, as Jesus, the Son of God, this is like referring to himself. The husband said unto themselves, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and the inheritance shall be ours. So now that I'm reading this now, I have an insight that when it says it's not just a continuation of their previous evil where they're going to mistreat the servants of the master. It's taking it further. I mean, they've killed other servants of the master, so it's not like worse than killing the previous servants that this guy's the son. But the particular plot that by killing him, the inheritance will be theirs. That instead of giving greater reverence to the son as the master has intended, they want to use it as an opportunity. Now, this is where I think it's an indictment of the way our churches have been run in Christianity, which is why I'm not a Christian. But let me finish the passage. Let us kill him, the inheritance shall be ours. And they took him and killed him and cast him out into the vineyard. What shall therefore the Lord of the vineyard do? He will come and destroy the husbandman. He will give the vineyard unto others. This is about the gospel of Judas. And have ye not read this scripture? The stone which the builders rejected is become the head of the corner, which in other versions I remember as the stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone, as we understand a cornerstone as being the foundation of another building. This was the Lord's doing, and it is this is a question. I don't understand how to read it as a question. This was the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. I don't know, but I'm glad I got to this passage because this is something I feel really strongly about that has bearing on our times and has bearing on my previous videos about the Gospel of Judas and the Church of Judas replacing the previous churches. See my previous videos. In this, it's the very idea that this church, this vehicle of Christianity created by Jesus, is also Jesus, the church itself. But it has been taken in the true Jesus is the message within it. But if that's been misinterpreted and misused by the church on earth, the physical church, the way it's progressed so far, then that's like them taking the message and using it to their advantage, like killing Jesus for the inheritance. And that's where they get destroyed for and replaced for. And so when these people are whining about cancel culture, our prophets of this or that are getting, wait till it gets to your preachers. Wait till the understanding of the masses throws out the generation of religious leaders who have been getting it wrong. And this includes some of your scholars. This includes everybody backing up the system that says that a military is okay, but Judas was wrong. Actually, Judas was right. Judas was playing his part, doing what Jesus told him to do, and it wasn't to start a military revolution. It was to start a hidden church that, when it's revealed now, that when it emerges now and replaces the other churches, the whole point is they got it wrong. And if you had it wrong about Judas for 2,000 years, what else are you wrong about? It just shows that you're not in touch with Jesus and the Father of Jesus, or as I see, the goddess. You're not in touch with the true spirituality of reality. And there's so many ways to get back to it. You can get back to it in any number of ways. You can just sit down and meditate. You can just relax. You can have a dream. You can have a good conversation. A comment can awaken you. You can smoke a bowl. You can read. You can do take a walk in nature. Do any of a number of ways to get back in touch with spirituality. But we're out of touch with it now. And that's the meaning of me turning to this gospel today, and the meaning of this passage that I never really understood is he's talking about the churches that will be formed by the people he's talking to. These people's heritage in the world, these disciples' heritage in the world will be to create these churches. And kind of no fault of their own, it's kind of all part of a plan. They're all corrupt. They all get corrupt. And they all have this unholy alliance with military and government. And the alliance with government can be okay. We can have a holy government. And it doesn't have to be any type of exclusive spirituality, but it can be a spiritualized government. We should have that. And I'm going to talk more in my next video about the ideas about what bad things really mean and how I was inspired by Animal Crossing. So I'm going to pick this up in the next video, but thanks for watching this 4th edition of Puffin's Pothead Passages, and I hope you'll stay tuned for more. Have a great day. Have a blessed day. God bless you. Jesus bless you. Jesus bless you. I bless you, and bless yourself.